126. That's enough people not only to fill up this 300-seat hearing room, but also to pack the halls outside with another 100 people or more. And if we save even just one more life, it is as if we have saved the world. So I thank you for your consideration, and I humbly ask for your support of this legislation. Chief Johnson, turn it over to Chief Johnson.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members of both committees. Thank you for allowing me to testify in front of you this afternoon and just listening to me for a while. I'm a police chief from Baltimore County. My testimony today reflects the support of the Maryland Chiefs of Police Association and the National Law Enforcement Partnership to Prevent Gun Violence, which I currently chair. I've offered testimony in front of Congress on gun violence issues, specifically in support of changes to federal law related to background checks for all weapons purchased, a limit of no more than 10 rounds for high-capacity magazines, and reinstatement of the 1994 assault weapons ban. I strongly support the bill before you today, with the amendments submitted by the Maryland Police Chiefs Association and adopted by the Senate. The proposed Maryland Firearms Safety Act of 2013 has many critical, important provisions. My testimony will focus on the value of licensing, restricting magazines to no more than 10 rounds, and a ban on assault weapons. My testimony also will address what I consider one of the most impressive legislation pieces to address the mental health issues that we face, that I face as a young officer, and my people face each and every day in Maryland and frankly all across the nation. Law enforcement leaders everywhere have been working to reduce gun violence, this gun violence epidemic that we face. This is a public health issue, no question about it. Law enforcement on the front lines of this issue nobly carry out the decisions made by our elected officials, you, each and every day on the front lines. We've had great success, as the governor stated, in reducing homicides in this great state, thanks to superior police work and, frankly, advances in technology that I thought I'd never see. But, to be honest with you, I believe the murder rate would be much higher than it is on paper if it weren't for first aid rendered by police officers, our fine EMTs, and the best trauma surgeons this world has ever seen. It would be higher. I strongly feel that it made a huge difference in reducing lives lost working with police. The fact of the matter is nearly 30,000 Americans are killed across this nation each and every year. The fact is that many more die from suicides and accidental shootings. Nearly 100,000 of our citizens die each and every year. One recent study revealed in just six cities across America, in just 1 week, it cost us $38 million. Cities the same size of Baltimore. Experts anticipate within the next 2 years, for the first time in our nation's history, firearms-related deaths will exceed those that were killed in automobile crashes. We need to do something. Here's another fact. In 2011, more police officers were killed by firearms violence than by any other means. This has not happened in nearly 2 decades. The proposal for you today will enhance Maryland's existing accomplishments by reducing gun violence. I'm confident of that. This legislation will reduce the number of deaths associated with firearms. We must do all we can do to stop guns from getting into the wrong hands and keep excessive firepower out of our communities. Let's review the issues before Marylanders today, beginning with assault weapons. I and many other knowledgeable detectives and officers feel that the gun violence that we face each and every day by assault weapons, written into this particular act, is very clear and very concise. This is crucial because, frankly, the debate over what is an assault weapon oftentimes comes up in this conversation. It has been and it continues to be a very critical issue. I'm very impressed with the language in this bill in that matter. Assault weapons have no place in our communities and on our streets. They're used to commit crimes of violence all across America, in the state of Maryland, and in my county. Right now we're looking for an individual, we have photographs of him, that chooses to use what appears to be an assault weapon to rob fast food locations. Right now, as you're sitting here, we're looking for this individual. Originally designed and engineered for the battlefield, these weapons are tactically engineered to offer superior tactical and offensive capabilities. They are engineered and designed to allow the user to carry dozens upon dozens of rounds, uninterrupted by mechanical failure. They allow its user to stay on target to minimize what I refer to as kick, so the shooter can deliver accurate hit after hit. From the weapon's weight to its ability to support admirable tactical features, the weapon that we call an assault weapon are superior killing machines. These are SWAT tools, special weapons and tactical tools used by police departments and military.
700 will take that out.
We have seen nationally these weapons are used in greater frequency in mass killings. Madison, Wisconsin, Aurora, Webster, New York, and of course Newtown. Now about the magazines. I and my peers in public safety believe it's reasonable for Maryland to adopt a 10-round limit on magazines. The reloading process is absolutely critical to the victim's chance of survival. It takes time for a shooter to reload. It gives someone precious moments to seek cover or concealment, to escape, or even take offensive action if they're in a position to do so.
Ballpoint pen.
In the shooting of Congresswoman Gifford in Tucson, this factor, the time it took the shooter to reload, allowing the individual attacked the shooter, and brought that incident to closure. A citizen certainly needs this precious time. You're going to have folks that come before you, and they're going to say, you could reload that magazine in 2 seconds. Well, maybe you could, if you're on a range, in a calm environment, a controlled environment. But if you're in a rage, you're drug-induced, you're not thinking clearly, it's going to take longer than 2 seconds. You can be reloaded at all. More rounds fired means more hits, more lives lost, and more physical injury. No question about it.
More money to reload.
This bill also contains impressive language and a comprehensive set of requirements designed to restrict the mentally and emotionally ill from obtaining and possessing firearms. The bill specifies that a hearing officer should be allowed to decide if a person should not possess a firearm if credible evidence exists that he or she possesses a danger to himself or others. We believe this provision will reduce firearm-related deaths and injury. Absolutely. Very confident in that. I handled thousands of these emergency evaluations as an officer. This is really important. We believe this provision will reduce deaths. What's important, though, we need to handle this as expediently as we currently handle domestic orders. Regarding firearms licensing, I strongly support the licensing. Research shows that licensing will reduce the number of non-intentional shootings by ensuring that gun owners know how to safely use and store that firearm. A licensing provision will increase the compliance with existing firearm laws by requiring gun owners to demonstrate knowledge of how that gun works and the laws that are applicable to that gun in this state. It will decrease illegal gun sales and purchases by ensuring that all licensees are eligible to possess a firearm under federal and state law. It will reduce the murder rate, as the governor stated. Other states with licensing requirements have shown such a reduction. And I urge you to keep in the fingerprint requirement in the bill. This will help law enforcement. It will help us clear cases. Don't take this from me. This is really important to link that case together, catch the culprit before he commits a second, third, or fifth homicide. Please don't take this out of the bill. Maryland citizens are quite familiar with rendering fingerprints. I had to get one the other day because I cashed a check and the bank required it. Just put your print on the check itself. Next to this, just burgeoning amount of employment today require fingerprinting. And you know, I don't really think it has a performance-based written test that demonstrates whether an applicant can safely load, fire, or store a weapon and has knowledge of the firearms and laws. Is that so unreasonable? The 4 hours, I think, is excellent. Excellent. Perhaps the most significant result of licensing will be to diminish straw purchasing. This is a really serious issue, straw purchasing. In law enforcement, we know that criminals are prohibited from buying, attempt to use straw purchasers to get guns. Criminals want a clean gun. They don't want a gun that's been used. They'll settle for it if they have to get it, if that's all there is. But they want a clean gun. It's not connected with a burglary or connected with another shooting. If they get caught with it, they got a big problem.